the level of excitement and or rage I'm going to express in this video about literal cleaning products is mildly embarrassing, but I'm also a mom who doesn't want to live in squalor, and so I do a decent amount of cleaning, and I like to try new products, but just as important, if not more important, when I try something out and it sucks, I want to spare y'all. And so that is what I am doing today, sharing the cleaning products I regret buying, and let's get right into it. First, we have the window cleaner vacuum. The window cleaner vacuum that everyone in 2025 seems to be getting. I should have known it wouldn't be all that it's cracked up to be, but it looked so aesthetically pleasing in the videos I saw of it that I figured, can't knock it till I try it. Well, I tried it, and now I can knock it. You can't reach tall windows or mirrors. It doesn't extend at all. It's heavy. It made my arm tired, and it makes this awful high-pitched squeaky noise. And all those influencer videos that made it look super satisfying because they were using a foaming cleaner and then aesthetically wiping it away. I tried to do the same with my foaming cleaner and it broke the machine.
You can't do the aesthetic thing.
And here's the reality that I probably should have known, but you don't need anything fancy to clean your windows. You just need a microfiber cloth and a window cleaner. That is it. If y'all follow me, you know if you want to take it a step further, my window cleaning hack using a flat mop with a microfiber cloth over it allows you to reach tall windows, mirrors, and clean them very quickly and efficiently without having to fetch any stools or ladders. And for outdoor windows, I use a telescoping scrubber squeegee combo, mix a little Dawn Platinum in the water, wipe down the grime, and squeegee clean, done. Next, we have the Bissell Spin Wave Mop, and I can admit when I'm wrong. I did recommend this a few years ago. I loved it at first, but in hindsight, I think it was one of those ignorance is bliss kind of things because back then it felt like a huge upgrade because my baseline was doing nothing. So honestly, I probably could have been impressed by anything. But now, after everything I've learned over the years and sort of becoming an accidental cleaning expert, I can confidently say it is not all it's cracked up to be. It basically just swishes around already dirty water and just smears it all over your floor. It doesn't actually pick anything up. So here's what I recommend instead. If you're looking for the most cost-effective option, just get yourself a good old spin mop. Pair it with Pine Sol or Fabuloso and you're golden. Now, if you have a lot of hardwood floors or tile and cleaning your floors is the bane of your existence, I recommend one of those Tineco vac mops. I have the S5 and I love it, but only because I have a lot of floor space to clean. If you don't, honestly, I wouldn't bother. They're not cheap, and every time you use it, you have to put it on its self-cleaning cycle, take off the brush head, let it air dry so that it doesn't get stinky, and that I totally don't mind doing when I clean all my hard floors because I feel like I have a lot of them. But if I had half the footprint of a house, I feel like it wouldn't be worth it. Plus, I do still use my spin mop here and there for deep cleanings, or because I live in Texas and bugs are a problem here, I'll use my spin mop with the original scented Pine Sol because it keeps bugs away. It says you're not supposed to put Pine Sol into the Tineco, and I'm not willing to risk it and then have it break on me. So I feel like 75% of the time I use my Tineco, and then 25% of the time when I need a good Pine Sol all over my house, I'm using my spin mop. Next, the Vroom. If you haven't seen it, it's basically a regular broom with a tiny vacuum straw tube attached to it. The idea is that after you sweep everything into a little pile, you don't have to bend down and deal with the dustpan. You just nudge the straw and it's supposed to suck up all the debris. Keyword here, supposed to suck up all the debris. The problem is the vacuum straw is way too small, so it actually doesn't suck everything up. Half the dirt just sits there judging you, and at that point, what even is the point? It can't even suck up a goldfish cracker. And I mean, it's not totally useless. I guess it's still technically a broom, but definitely not worth the price then, and you're just paying for a gimmick that doesn't actually work. And personally, I'm just not even really a broom girl to begin with. I prefer, if I have a mess to clean up, I just keep a stick vac nearby, and I feel like using a stick vac is way quicker and more efficient than a broom anyways. Next, we have the viral pink stuff paste. paste. And don't get me wrong, I love the color pink. I fell for the cute, adorable packaging that looks really cute in a cleaning caddy. But ultimately, like, while it does work, so I'm not totally knocking it, there are just things that work better or just as well for cheap. Barkeeper's Friend, you can literally get for 99 cents if you get the little bottle from the Dollar Tree, or I think it's only $2 or $3 for the larger container at Target or Walmart. And then my personal favorite, if we're going for the most effective with the least elbow grease, is I like the Scrub Daddy Power Paste. It is more expensive than Barkeeper's Friend. I do have both on hand, but I feel like if I'm just going for the most effective, efficient product, it's the Scrub Daddy Power Paste. And random fun facts on these products that I only recently started using them for. You know those silvery scratches on white plates? I always thought that they were actual scratches, but they're actually metal deposits from your silverware. And using a little bit of Barkeeper's Friend or Scrub Daddy Power Paste, that comes right off. Some plates, if they have a little bit more divots and stuff, you may need a little bit more scrubbing, or I use this like drill powerful brush thing. But you can take plates that are looking old and dingy and make them look brand new white again. Next, we have the Angry Mama Microwave Cleaner. And I'll give credit where it's due. Yes, it works, but so does a regular bowl. And so you don't need to add more clutter to your household, add a whole new gadget to your household, when you could just use a bowl that already exists in your house. Next, we have Zep Grout Cleaner. When I first saw this on TikTok, I was so excited because my grout lines in all my bathrooms are always looking dingy and gross. It also, I feel like, takes forever to clean. You need a lot of elbow grease, which I don't love, you know, having to exert effort into anything if I don't have to. So this magical Zep Grout Cleaner looked like the solution. But unfortunately, it turns out that it works too well, like aggressively well, and just completely ate away at my grout. It removed so much of the grout, it actually exposed the side wall of my tile, which happens to be the color black. So now it just looks like I have black mold growing in my grout line, when really it's just the grout has recessed so much that it's showing the side of my tile. So yeah, too strong. What I would recommend instead, if you still want something that works really quickly, you can use toilet bowl cleaner. I know it sounds weird, but a little stripe of toilet bowl cleaner scrubs, few little scrubs, you wash it away and you will have white grout lines with minimal eroding, at least not as much eroding as the Zep Grout Cleaner. But you still have to be careful and test patch it. You want to use absolutely no chemicals. You can use a steam cleaner. I have the old school, actually now technically recalled Bissell steam cleaner, and it works amazing. Unfortunately, my attachments broke, so I can't even really use it anymore, and I can't buy new attachments because my unit was recalled, so it's actually really annoying. And last year I tested their new unrecalled steam cleaner, and I just feel like it's not as effective, it's not as powerful. My assumption is they probably had too many people burning themselves with this super powerful steam cleaner. But as of last year, I tested a bunch and did not like any of them. I only like the recalled version. Next, we have this super viral, infamous spin brush. It feels like every mommy influencer on the planet was recommending one of these, so I got one. The concept was brilliant. The execution, not so much. The moment I even put a little bit of pressure on the brush head, it just stopped spinning. So literally no point. Turns out most of these viral versions that people were recommending had a measly RPM, rotations per minute, of 400. So I did some digging, did some research, and I found a much more powerful 1200 RPM model and got that to try out. And while it is bulkier and has a heavy duty battery on it, it actually works. If you're tackling some truly nasty grout, tub rings, buildup, outdoor gunk, this thing is great. But I will say, if you are someone who stays on top of your cleaning and you don't have tons of buildup to tackle, you can get away with just using a regular manual tub and tile brush like this blue Clorox one that I have. Next, let's talk about one of the biggest ripoffs in the CleanTok community, the Pink Stuff Miracle Power Foaming Toilet Cleaner Powder. Basically, instead of using regular toilet bowl cleaner, you put this pink stuff powder into your toilet, and it foams up and looks super aesthetically pleasing if you care about the aesthetics of cleaning your toilet. And I will say it does work, but to buy one box of this, you only get 2 cleaner packets and it's $6.50, meaning each individual packet is $3.25. Yes, I can do math. And if it is $3.25 per use, I have 4 toilets in my house, and I'm not spending $13 every time I feel like I need to refresh the bathrooms in my house, especially when it doesn't clean any better than a regular toilet bowl cleaner, and it's the same price as one of these packets. And better yet, because I personally don't love reusing toilet things, I'm just gonna stick to my Clorox toilet wands with the disposable little wand thingies on them. They're easy, they work great, they're sanitary, and it's also just easy access, easy use. Next, we have the Tineco iFloor vac mops. They're lower models. I know I've already said earlier in the video that I recommend my Tineco vacuum, and that's because I have one of the higher models, the S5. So my first experience ever with a Tineco vacuum, I got an iFloor 3 series, which was their cheapest vacuum, and it just straight up didn't even work. It turned on, but it didn't deliver any water, so it was basically just a vacuum, and I already owned a vacuum. I was looking for a vacuum mop, so I actually, talked smack about Tineco the first time I talked about them on my channel, and so many people commented, oh, I have a Tineco, it's great, you just have to get like at least an S3 or an S5. I went and I got the S3, which was the cheapest model of the ones people recommended to me, and I loved it. Next up, the Roomba. And to be clear, I'm not specifically hating on the Roomba brand. I am just talking about all of the brands and their most cheap robot vacuum model that doesn't have LiDAR, doesn't have AI, doesn't have like a self-emptying base, most importantly. Roomba was the first robot vacuum I ever got, so that's why I'm calling out that brand, but they do have nicer models. I just haven't personally used them. When I got it, I got the cheapest bare bones one I could afford at the time. And unfortunately, it was just a huge waste of money because without the AI tracking, it would just run over things and get stuck all the time. Even when I had the floor fully picked up and I didn't have to worry about that, it felt like every 10 freaking seconds, the dust cup would be filled and it would turn off and I would have to go find it, empty it, put it back where it was and get it going again. It was just, I was like, what is the point of this? It's kind of like when a wife is asking their husband for help and he's somewhat feigning weaponized incompetence and he's like,
well, how do I do this and how do I do this?
And so even though he's kind of helping, she's still having to check in and monitor all the time, so then it's actually not helping at all. And now I'm getting heated. I really hated that little robot vacuum. So anyways, now the robot vacuum I've had, gosh, at this point, almost 4 years now, is the Shark AI robot vacuum with this self-empty base. And the self-empty base is also the charger and its little home. It has my whole house mapped out. Sometimes it still has issues with like getting stuff on the floor. So I do always try to have things picked up, but sometimes it will also avoid things. But overall, I have it set to run every other day. And I literally don't have to think about it because it runs as soon as the dust cup fills up, it knows to go back to its home base, auto self-empties itself, and then it goes back to cleaning. Like fully robot, fully clean mode. Next up, we have this car cleaning gel. I actually used this in an old car cleaning video to clean out all the little nooks and crannies. And here's the problem. I like to keep my cleaning supplies in close proximity. Otherwise, it's probably not getting used if I have to go fetch it somewhere. Unless you live in a perfectly mild climate, if you're gonna store this gel in your car, the moment Texas summer hit, this gel became a mess. A melty mess. I went to use it and it was just like this oozy liquid that I wish I had a video that just made a mess everywhere. So I don't use this anymore. Instead, I just keep car cleaning wipes in the armchair compartment of my car. And when I'm stopped at a drive-thru, I'll just do a quick wipe down of the dash, toss a few wipes back to my kids for them to do a wipe down. And I feel like that works just fine. Next, we got a couple UV items, which I'll admit I didn't actually try these. I know I always say don't knock it till you try it, but I do feel like there are some scenarios where I don't need to try it and I can still still knock it. First, we got the UV phone holder. I get it. Our phones get disgusting. I'm not in denial about that, but instead of adding an additional gadget to my house, I keep a pack of wet ones in my purse at all times. And I feel like when I'm out with my kids, at least once a day, I'm pulling out the wet wipes to make sure everyone cleans and wipes their hands. I also take that time to use the residual cleaning disinfectant on the wet ones to wipe down my whole phone. Another thing, I feel like I don't need to try to know that it would become clutter around my house are these UV fogger guns. I guess everyone is always trying to figure out how to keep their house cleaner with less chemicals, and that's where this UV fogger gun came in, where it's essentially, it like sprays fogger water, but then also shines a UV light through it, and that's supposed to disinfect. But for me, it just screams gimmick. It's all these random little Asian brands selling it. I just don't trust it. I can say that because I'm part Asian. Next, we have the Joy Mop, which ironically brought me no joy. This company have reached out to me multiple times, and I'm just like, I hate your product. Like, I'm not doing that. The concept sounds great. It's a flat mop with a built-in bucket system where you're supposed to wet one side, mop your floors, rinse, repeat. In theory, totally efficient, but the problem is it just didn't work. I couldn't even get the mop into the little water compartment, and when I finally forced it in, felt like it was going to turn into a floor flooding disaster and tip over. So if you're choosing between this and a spin mop, or this and just a Swiffer mop, go with the spin mop or the Swiffer mop. Next, we have these scented carpet deodorizers that you can get at any retailer, but I feel like I see them most often at places like the Dollar Tree. It is essentially baking soda with added fragrance to it, and the problem is the added fragrance to it, I ended up being super allergic to. I would rather have a carpet that smelled a little funky than one that triggered an asthma attack, and that's what it felt like. I just sprinkled it all over the carpet, and then by the time I realized what was happening, my eyes, my nose, like I was just severely affected. I ended up having to throw out that carpet completely. So if you want to deodorize your carpets, but you're also sensitive to fragrance, you can just use plain baking soda. Just baking soda itself is a deodorizer. I sprinkle that on my carpets, you let it sit for an hour, and then you vacuum it up. My old car used to have the stinkiest carpets because I owned that car through the roughest years of motherhood, where there was people throwing up, it getting up, like I just had the stinkiest car carpets ever. So occasionally I would sprinkle baking soda all over the carpets of my car, and then I would go to the fancy car washes that have like the industrial grade shop vacs for you to use, and you can use those to suck up all the baking soda so that you don't risk damaging your own vacuum. Let me know in the comments if you tried any of these, or if you have any specific cleaning products that you regret buying. Like this video if you enjoyed it, share it with family, friends, enemies, and I will see you in the next video.